We are live. Welcome, everybody, to another story of change. This month, Access Consciousness has been interviewing amazing people who went from problem to possibility all through using the tools of Access Consciousness and finding the access bars. Today, I have one of my favorite people with me. Her name is Vitoria, and she resides in Brazil. And I get the pleasure of working closely with Vitoria, and I had no idea what she had gone through in her life before finding the bars, because the person I stumbled upon was happy and joyful and in all the possibility. And so to discover this through knowing each other, what she struggled with early on in her life was actually a big wow, because I don't perceive the resonance of somebody who used to struggle with those things when we're playing together. So it's just another shout out to the tools of change that Access actually provides. So Vitoria.
Hi.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm great. And also, thank you for saying that, because since yesterday I've been already perceiving the energy of this conversation, and I was like, wow, it's so amazing to go back and remember where I was and how far it seems to be from where I am right now, and what the tools can create. It's just amazing. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out.
You're welcome. It's wild, right? Like the things that you don't think are possible to change actually turn out that they are, you guys. So okay, so let's tell our friends watching. Hi everybody. Hi Selena.
Hi everybody.
Hi Haresh. Will you just take us back? So will you tell me what it was like growing up as Vitoria?
Yeah, of course. Well, I feel like I have almost as if my life was separated in two parts, because when I was very young and when I was growing up until I was 4 or 5, I was a very strong being and very happy, and I have pictures of me wearing Wonder Woman costumes and being very strong as a person. And then when I was 4, my mom found out she was with cancer, and my life started to change a lot, because that was the time when, well, and also I'm saying that, but I'm lying, because my life was very different ever since the beginning, because my mom and my dad, they were never together, like in a relationship. So that was already something that, like here in our culture, it is expected to be in a relationship, and your parents are expected to be married and everything. And they weren't. And there was that in my world. So I was raised with a lot of different people. Like I had my mom's family and my dad's family, and they were living in different cities. So I was always going around and around different people with different financial realities. That was something interesting for me too, because I was even talking to a friend the other day. Like I remember going to my family's from the side of my father, and they didn't have a lot of money, but their relationship was closer. So they had more proximity and everything. But then I came back, and here in the city that my mom lived, it was different. Anyway, okay. When I was 6, my mom passed away, and everything changed. Oh my God. And I have people in my life who say that I actually changed, I became another person. And I know that in Access we have all the tools that allows us to say, oh, maybe the being changed and everything. But anyway, we don't have to go there.
Can I ask you a question? So how did the family, that you can remember at 6, but how did the family cope with dealing with giving you this information, and how to protect you from anything? Or can you give us a little bit of that?
Am I going to be too judgmental if I say horribly?
No.
Well, because people, they want to treat you as a kid. So they were never honest with me. I knew that she was going to die. Somehow I knew that she was choosing that. but they were not telling me. They were like always, and I get that people are trying to be hopeful and they expect something to change, and you can't, like, well, actually you can't, but things can change. But they never did tell me. And then I remember the day when she died, I was at my father's house in another city, and he tells me that he spent the entire night awoke because he didn't know how to tell me. He had to wake up like his 6 years old daughter to say that her mom died. And the thing that I remember was that in the car when we were driving to get to the city, I was holding I didn't want to cry because I already like started to feel like I needed to show that I was strong and I could handle things. And people, I don't know if they get that at such a young age you can be aware of so much. Like they don't think that when you are so little you can already perceive how people are reacting to you, how they perceive you, and how they are judging you, because they were feeling so sorry for me. And I could perceive that, and that was not kind. Like when I got aware of how much it was projected at me that I was a victim from my teachers and my, everyone in my family, I could like perceive how much I bought that as a reality. Like, oh, okay, so now I'm a victim because my mom died and I have to destroy my life, or everything needs to go. And I'm laughing, but it was not so easy. I'm just laughing because like now I can see all the choices everybody was making and all the expectations that people have. But
and let me add one thing. So if anybody's listening and they're like, "Ooh, I had someone, die, and I protected young people too." You do your best with the tools that you have, and I know that that's what Vitoria's family was doing. And there are these other possibilities of acknowledging young children and empowering them to know that they know, and having real conversations with these infinite beings in little bodies. And the tools of access actually give you the awareness of what you could choose. So I just want to make sure if anybody's going into judgment going, "Oh my God, I did it wrong." That
no,
no, you're not creating that. I just was picking up on that. And so like, you're not wrong. You're doing your best. And there's these other possibilities out there that you can actually perceive the future that you're creating when you do that. And you can invite another possibility. And so when Vitoria laughs now, it's from the space of going, "Oh my gosh, I bought so much of that as real and true," and then built a life on it, like built the foundation of your life at 6 years old, I see, and then start to go, "Okay, cool. I'm a victim. Got it. That's how I have to go forward and do relationship. That's how I have to go forward and create a future. That's how I have to go forward, and all the things that I can choose." And so can you tell me more about that with that as your foundation? What started to kind of compound from there as your reality?
Wow, I felt so separate because I think I started to almost develop a personality from that place of being a victim. So I couldn't trust myself anymore. Wow, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. Because I like now when I see myself like going to school and being the weird kid, because then everything changed. Like 2 years after my mom died, I moved to live with my father, and then I was so lonely. Like I was really lonely. Like here I have everyone in my family and uncles and everything, my grandma. And when I moved with him, it was just the two of us, and he was away like the entire day because he was working. So it was just me. And sometimes we had a housekeeper that was like with us. But then I started feeling very, very lonely by myself. And even in school, like you get to a new school and you are the kid that lost a mom, and you are the weird kid that lost a mom. And I was, it was so weird. I don't know. Am I answering you? I don't know.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think what I get from that place was that I started judging myself a lot. Like I remember at 8, it was the first time that I got a bad grade at school. And I felt so guilty. I remember crying when I got the test and seeing the grade there, and I was like feeling like, and that was the feeling. Like that feeling was the feeling that started growing and growing and growing from being wrong and feeling like I wasn't capable of achieving something. That's the thing that comes from me. Like I wasn't capable of of creating something. It seems so subjective when I'm telling. I hope that this.
No, you know what I'm hanging off of is the first part you told of this story was that you knew mom was going to die and no one would acknowledge your knowing. And so you had to start to doubt your knowing, and then it happened, but you'd already doubted your knowing. And so when we do that to children and we go, oh my gosh, like pretend like they don't know and they're not aware, then they grow up doubting their knowing and then always have to, measure them, judge them to find, where they fit. And so I'm like, it was like 6 that you knew and were told you really didn't know by the way everybody was acting. So,
yeah.
So
and I think that just the thing that you're telling now, it matches the energy of feeling separated that I started to grow to. Like I was always feeling so separated, and you're feeling separated from yourself because I started feeling separated from me. I couldn't perceive myself anymore, or I don't know, because you have to perceive yourself based on other people's judgments and expectations of you. So if it doesn't match, like, where are you? Who are you? Where can you find you?
Can you take me now to like teen years? So you're probably like doing relationship a little bit and you're trying to get through high school and you're looking at your future. And what does that look like at that time?
Oh, that was interesting. Okay, so the thing was, when I was 11, I started cutting myself. And when I was 13, I think my father found out because he saw that I had all the cuts, and then I started taking. They took me to a psychiatrist, and I had to start taking anti-depressants, and it was so weird. Like when I remembered the how do you say, not the session with the
appointment.
The appointment. Thank you. She was so ready to give me the antidepressant. Like there was no space. She was like, "Oh yeah, you were depressed. Like you have to take this." And I was 13. Okay, no judgment of her. I get it. But then I started at the same time. I was already starting to like have feelings for some people in my life, and I think at that age, like when I was 11, when I said before that I started cutting myself, I was in love with this guy. And we didn't kiss and anything. But I remember that he told me that he didn't want to be with me because I didn't want to kiss him. And I was like, so uncomfortable because I was like, I'm not ready for this. And he was, oh, no, now I'm in love with another girl and she doesn't look anything like you. And I remember that I was like, oh, and that again created more separation because I started creating this, so I need to be someone else. So I need to change the way that I dress because he was, and now this is going to sound fun, but he was like, oh, she's so cool because she has piercings and everything. And now I do have one. But okay. So, and then that was the thing, like that was the age that I started to, again, feel that I was wrong and that was separated. And then I started creating relationships from that place. And my love life was so confusing when I was 15 and 16 and then at the same time, I know this is not making sense.
No, it totally is, baby.
Yeah. Okay, great. At the same time, I was already starting to develop interest in girls, and my father was very homophobic, and he was perceiving that being like created in my world. So that was weird because he was telling me when he started to perceive it, he told me that was something unnatural. Like that was something, he used a word that I don't know if I'm going to know how to say, but like almost as if you are a freak. Like you are a freak. You can't, that's not natural. You can't be like that. It's not acceptable in the world. And again, more separation and more like doubting myself and like, am I wrong? Am I always wrong? Everything that I'm choosing is wrong. Am I being wrong? And then that started creating the real like intense thoughts of suicide because I was always seeing the world as a better place without me because everything I was being was wrong. Everything I was doing was wrong. I was wrong just to exist. Like, why was I just here? Like, I shouldn't be here. That's light to say.
But no, I mean, what's fun is that we can have this conversation in the lightness, because so much has changed and we don't have to judge any of it. So what I've been seeing is that people like will dodge the suicide conversation or the suicidal thoughts or whatever. Like it's the worst thing that's ever happened. But a lot of that is why people hide it, is because there's still a judgment and a stigma on it. And when you start to play with the access tools, you start to come out of those judgments that you've made so solid and real, the good, the bad, the right, the wrong, all of that. And your space of allowance starts to change and shift, so you can have conversations that are like deemed heavy in this reality, and have space around them so that we can share with people that they can talk about these things. And so I love what you're being right now, and I'm so somebody who gets to talk to you about this. So we got all that. Everything's compounding. You get out of high school, you're looking at your future, and let me acknowledge here, put a pin in this. You have not given up yet. You're still here, right? So you're still going, all right? I get that you're like feeling separate from you. You're judging you at this point. You don't know if you deserve to be here or should be here, but you're still looking at what you'd like to create as your life. So I just want to, anybody who's out there that's hearing this right now, you are still here. And so let's acknowledge that every day you're still getting up and you're still choosing to be here. So what if something else was possible if you keep choosing living? Okay. So Vitoria kept choosing living, and what came, take me to your 20s, baby. Take me to 20 start, and you're looking at what?
Oh, things got way better than a little, not so much, but a little more. And just one thing before we go, I know we don't have a lot of time, but the thing that you just said, like that people are going to this place of judgment and wrongness around suicide. And that's the thing too. Like when you are feeling that way, like when I was 13 and 14, 15, I didn't have anybody in my family that could actually receive that from me. Like even when my father found out that I was cutting myself and that he made me feel like worse, because he made me move to another city and go live with my uncle and I get that he was doing like the best he could because he didn't know how to handle things. But if you go to that place of, oh, okay, so you are considering suicide, what can I be for you? What can I receive from you, or whatever? So thank you for pointing that. Okay, so when I was I wanted to, when I was 18, when I wanted to like choose college or whatever, I thought I was going to work as an artist. Like I really wanted to work in with movies, and I wanted to write scripts, and that was my thing. But again, life seemed to be really hard from that perspective. And when I was 19, I think, I don't know, I was in a relationship with a guy, and we went to a beautiful place here in Brazil, and it was like a full moon. We took some pictures of this. It was a beautiful place. You could see the ocean and the full moon. And there, when I was looking at the ocean and I was perceiving that, I don't know what it was, but something changed for me. And I knew like I wanted to work with something that would allow me to be something for people. Like, because at the same time, with all of this that was going on in my life, when I was in school and everything, I was always a person that I remember people coming to me and asking me for things, and being vulnerable with me when they couldn't be to anybody else. And I was always attracting people who had a lot of things going on in their life, and problems with drugs and problems with their family. And I could always be something that they told me that allowed them to be more of them. So at that moment, I made a choice. Like I'm going to choose something that allows me to be more of this to people, just because. Okay. And then I think I was in therapy at that moment, and my therapist wanted me to become a psychologist. And I tried. I went for a year and a half of college studying psychology. Cried for the last 3 months, going every day to that place and feeling again so separated and so oh my God, what is this? Because I could perceive so much incongruency in what they were being to what they were saying, and all the charge and all the rights and wrongs and diagnosis. And wow, okay, choice again. I wanted to include the body. I wanted to like look at, I always like so interested in bodies, and I there was something in my world about what can I create with bodies? What can I go like beyond the conversations, or like being in a place that was so separated? That's what I felt with psychologists. And then I found this course of massage therapy, went for it. It lit up my entire world, and it was amazing. I loved it. It was so pragmatic, and like we didn't have to go to all the theoretical things. We had to, but not so much. There was more like hands stuff in bodies and everything. Okay. When I was finishing the massage therapy course, I think 1 or 2 months before finishing it, someone told me about the bars. A cousin of mine, she told me she knew someone who was facilitating sessions, and she was like, she thought I would like that. Okay. The only energetic thing I had done at that moment was like Reiki, and I enjoyed it. Like I had some really great experiences, but I was just like working more with massage. And one day I was in my yoga class before my yoga class started, and one of my friends there, she told me, oh, I went for a bar session and I loved it. It was amazing. And I was, oh, I'm looking for that. Can you give me the name of the person? Who was it? How was it? And then she did, and I scheduled a session and I went there. And it was amazing. Like I remember during the session, everything that I felt in my body was amazing. And when I left there, what I like, you know, when you go to that, how do you call the thing that you go to jump when you're a kid? When you leave that and you don't feel the ground because your feet are so used to jumping. and then I felt the same way. Like after when I left the session, I was like, wow, I'm so light. I can't even feel the ground. Like everything's different. I wanna learn this. And the thing for me about the bars is more than receiving sessions, I really love gifting them. Like that's the thing that changed everything for me the most, because I had the point of view that to contribute to a person, I had to be like feeling great and like being almost a Buddha, enlightened, and then I could contribute to someone. And what started shifting was at that moment, I was in a very abusive relationship and we were fighting all the time. He was yelling at me a lot. He was going through a lot of things in his life. But okay, fighting at our house and then going to my office to a bar session. And I was choosing to go because I could like, oh, let me cancel because I'm not feeling great. I'm feeling horrible because my boyfriend is fighting with me. But no, I chose to go. And every time I chose to go, when the session started and I was giving the session, I started feeling better, and the person too. And that was just amazing for me because I could actually see change happening. Like before that, I was always feeling so like lacking power in my life. Like I wasn't able to change anything or to create change in the world. And that's the thing too. Like when we start to feel this lack of power, or when you are in the space of like, I can't do anything to change the world. I can't be anything that will actually change the world because I'm just one person. That's already a lie, because you as one person, you are already changing people around you. You are already creating things that will create this ripple effect or whatever that will affect someone. And also, if you want to change the world and you perceive that as a possibility, you are not going to be by yourself. You may be at first, but you are going to find some amazing people that are so beautiful and create something so different for you that allows you to see more of that showing up. So anyway, I'm talking too much.
No, you're doing great. After you started to really incorporate the bars in your life, where did those feelings of doubt and suicide and like that stuff end up for you? Like how often did they fade out? Were they never again?
Not never again. They didn't fade out. They still show up, but there's no charge anymore. Like before, it was as if it was in a dark tunnel and there was no other possibility. And now it's just something that is there as, okay, I can commit suicide. I can have an ice cream. I can I can go out and walk, talk to trees. What would I like to choose? Because the thing for me today with suicide is that the only thing that it's going to change it's that you're not going to have a body anymore. That's the only thing that is going to change. You're not going to have a body anymore. So if you're experiencing things that are not related to your body, I don't know if it's going to help so much to commit suicide. And your body is actually something that
it's like
so serious talking about suicide.
No, I just saw that for the first time in a totally different way. I'm like, I'm having problems like with my plumbing, so I killed my cat. You know.
Yeah, that's it. Like you're not going to change. Yeah, you have to change the thing that is creating whatever it is, and it's you are the person that's creating whatever it is that it's making you feel so horrible. And it's like
but see, that's hard for someone who is in such a depression and this reality going, oh hey, there's something wrong with you, here's all the drugs, but not hey, you're super aware, can I ask you a question, right? And so then if they hear you or I, you know, say like, hey, you're creating everything that's in your reality, they're like a big, I can't say the word, but you know, like one of these things.
I know. Yep.
Okay. Right. Because, and I get it. Cause I've been in those places too, where I was like, don't tell me I'm creating this. But here's the thing that we get with access tools is that if you can acknowledge that you're the creator of your reality and what shows up in your life, you can change anything. If you hand the keys off of your life to someone else, they get to drive. So you can blame that your mom died. You can blame how your dad reacted. You can blame this reality and the doctors that projected at you and the teachers who treated you like a victim. That's fine, but that keeps you in that cycle. So claiming, owning, and acknowledging that you get to create your life and you're creating the things that are around you. It's not to make you wrong. It's to get to empower you to know that you can change it too. And so I want to extrapolate a little bit on that from what you said.
And thank you.
Yeah. So what does the future look like for you now that suicide is just a choice? And or you could get an ice cream. I like want that on I want it on like a t-shirt or something. But that's probably not going to be received, so don't put that on a t-shirt. But like what's possible now? What are you looking at now, Vitoria?
So much. And I was thinking about that today because I think one of the things that Access changed the most for me was that I couldn't perceive a future. Like I could never perceive a future. Even and when Dane asked that in a class, it was the first time that I could perceive that as an actual question. Like, what do you perceive as the future? Because people do that, but they expect you to answer something specific, like you are going to be married and you're going to have a number of kids and you're going to have amount of money on your bank account. And now what I perceive as the future, I can't even describe, because I can just perceive like so much joy, and I can perceive like ease in my body relaxing. And I know this is kind of like ethereal, but at the same time, that's the thing. If when you say that about the not from a place of judging you or feeling guilty, to realize that you are creating the people and the situations in your life, and actually to empower you. The thing for me that we need to look more is, if it's not light for you, it's not true for you. So when you look from this perspective of like, oh, my mom died and this is not light. Like, it's not light to feel shitty because things happen to you. When you look at like, okay, what did I know when I chose that? And I don't know why I'm going to say that, but one thing that my aunt used to tell me was, when I was like 3 years old, I used to make my own luggage, to travel. And she used to say, like, you were so independent. It was like you knew your mom was going to die. So like, and she wasn't even sick at that time. But what I get from that now is like, when I'm talking to people and they share their story with me, it's like, what did you know when you chose those parents? What did you know when you chose even a parent that abandoned you, or a sister or a brother that wasn't really kind to you, or a teacher or whatever, a city, somewhere you grew up? what did you know when you chose that? What did you know about you that you can now like acknowledge and create with? Because that's the thing, we can create so many beautiful things if we allow ourselves to. Not answering your question about the future, right?
Yeah, you are. You just told me that no, because that thing that you said was like when you're in that dark tunnel, you can't even perceive a future. So that's why, like, I get looking at suicide seems like a viable option if you can't even perceive tomorrow. I mean, right? And that's also, you know, like a symptom of that level of depression is like, I don't know if I'll be here next week, so don't ask me what I'm doing for lunch, you know? And yet, when you start to clear all that out of your world, and the gift of the bars with clearing the electromagnetic waves in our brain that lock those things in, you start to have this space, and then a future can start to show up, and you can start to make choices towards what you'd like to create as your life and living as your future. So super cool. Loved that, actually. Will you tell me about your first access class? Because you told me that
my bars class, or
when you went to the taster with Dane.
Oh yeah, the body whispering. Oh wow, I'm gonna cry.
That's allowed.
I don't want to cry. I want to tell the story. It was so beautiful. Okay. I was feeling so angry when I chose that class. And okay, before that, what I chose, and I was thinking that I wanted to say that here, but what I chose after the bars was every day I watched the videos from Tour of Consciousness. And I love when you say that, because that was the thing that I chose too, like every day, but I watched like 2 or 3 of them, like every day, because I couldn't really talk to people in my life. Like they were so interesting. You know how much I love people, right? So anyway, and then and I could perceive that there was something in Dane that created more for me. And I was so frustrated with things that were going on here in Brazil and our political situation. I was frustrated with my family. I couldn't, like, I had just broken up with that boyfriend that I was with after, well, the thing about the bars, after a year or 2, you may break up with everybody in your life. Just telling. That can be awesome or not. It can be awesome. It's going to be awesome. So anyway, and then it was like a few weeks before New Year's Eve, I think. And I saw that class, and I chose, I think, 2 days before, because I wanted to see what was there. And I was ready to be frustrated again, because I was I was feeling frustrated about everyone in my life at that moment. Like even my yoga teachers, you know, when you see the incongruency in people and you were like, you feel disappointed. And I was feeling so disappointed. And I get now that I could choose more allowance for them, and I do. But okay, I chose to go to that class. And I remember, like, when Dane walked in the room, I could perceive that I relaxed. And it was like seeing a really, like, a long time friend. And he was, oh, okay, that's Dane. And I was expecting to feel something else, because I was like, oh, I'm going to be super excited and super nervous. And it was different. I was just like, oh, okay, he's here. And the class was amazing. Like, you know, when you are around someone that you know that you can just relax, because you know that they are there for you, and they are, oh, thank you, Julia. And you know that you don't have to be taking control of everything. You don't have to control everything by yourself, because there's someone else there that has your back. And that was him for me in that class. And I remember that at some point he said something about the political situation in the world and what was going on and why we were electing monsters. And when I heard him saying that, I was like crying my life out of my body almost, because I was finally truly relaxing, and I was okay. This is it. X is not incongruent. I can trust this thing. It's because I was expecting him to be something different. Like, okay, the tools work and everything, but he can still be an asshole. Not that he's never an asshole. Sometimes he may be. I don't know. We're all assholes sometimes, but he was being congruent with the energy, and he was so kind. And oh, he said so many beautiful things in that class. Like every time I listen to it, I still cry, and I don't even choose to listen so much because it's so amazing. And it was just an intro, like 3 or 4 hours, because then it was supposed to be 2 hours, and he was like 3 hours and a half, and I'm still here talking. And okay, that was amazing, because after that I could perceive that I was not alone anymore. I could perceive something beyond my relationship with people around me. Like I didn't have to go to my grandma or my father, or no, I could go to the universe. And like, okay, if I can talk to people, what does the universe have to show me? Like, what can I perceive, or what can I be that the universe can receive or can be with me, or whatever. And from that class, I just continued choosing. I continued choosing from that energy that I chose that day, and from what I could perceive. And that night, he asked us to do some things, and to do some things sounds interesting, like hug people, not you think so many dirty things. We just hugged each other. It was amazing. But then, and we went to the, okay, what can you perceive as your future? I don't know if he did. Yes, I think he did that day. Like, what if you can perceive that being like closer and closer and closer to you, the future that you are aware of? And that actually became something like really close to me. Like I could actually be that energy, because the thing is, we are always saying, okay, I can choose that next week. I can choose that next month. I'm going to watch some Netflix now. Nothing wrong with watching Netflix. It's okay. But you can still like already choose that now. Like now, every day when I woke up, I'm so excited to create things that I'm creating in my life. And I don't even want to watch Netflix unless I'm really tired and I just want to sleep on TV. But most of the time, I'm so excited to do the things that I'm choosing to do that I don't even need anything to, those things that people say that, oh, I need this to relax, or I need this to, after a long week of work, I need something to get. No, like you can be happy all the time. And that was the thing, like nobody say that to you. They always say that you have to learn to go through the hard things in life. And
one of my favorite questions in the Being You classes, and we use it a lot, is what if you could wake up every day with a wild enthusiasm for being alive? And that's what the gift of the tools and the bars have given me. I would wake up and I don't know that I even knew to hate my life. I just thought that's how life was, that you had to stress and you had to like figure things out. You had to scrape by. You had to plan for a future that you didn't even think was going to happen. And now, like I'm actually requiring less sleep these days, because I like wake up and I'm like, oh, I have 2 more hours of sleep, or I can get on creation and just be alive. And for that, I am ever so grateful for the bars, for Access, for Dane, for Gary, for them never giving up and never giving in, so that we don't ever have to feel alone. And I'm so grateful for you and getting to create with you and have your energy in my life. And I'm so grateful that all these people watching and in the future get to receive you as well. Is there anything that you would like to say before we go, that your words of wisdom and hope and possibility?
I don't know, or I do so many things. I guess I think what I was perceiving these last few days, when I was accessing this and the conversation we are going to have, I started thinking about, I'm never bored anymore. And I'm grateful for you for that too, because you allow me to see life as something, as a true adventure. And what I wanted to say is, if you are here and if you are listening to this conversation, and if you are feeling like you are wrong and you shouldn't exist, and what is it that you truly know when you're just by yourself and you don't go to people? Go to nature and see what you can perceive as you when you are around a tree, an animal. And this may sound like an airy fairy talk, or like, but it isn't. Like, truly, what is it that you can be with your body and enjoy with your body that would allow you to have life as something so fun, so much fun, that you never even consider the possibility of not being a gift, because you are.
And on that,
Thank you, babe.
Thank you so much for vulnerability, and the receiving I had from this and looking at this topic. This conversation changed a lot for me, and I'm so grateful. For those of you who want more information, you can visit the Access Consciousness website, accessconsciousness.com/you're not alone. And it's also in the posting somewhere here. There will be other interviews throughout the month that you can follow here on the page. And if you do know anybody who's struggling with depression or mental health issues at all, please tag them in any one of these interviews that you get would contribute to them. Thank you, Vitoria. I adore you. Thank you, Access. Thank you, Dane, Gary, the bars, everybody who creates. It truly is such a gift to hear stories of change like this and know that a greater future is possible where no one has to feel alone. I love you.
I love you so much. Thank you for being this amazing being and so magic as you are, and you choose to be every day.
Love you, babe. Bye.
Bye.